might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023. We are one day away from Thanksgiving. It is currently 7:19 in the morning, Eastern Time. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you're catching this live or on replay. We had an amazing night last night where we, through our tech Q&A, amazing questions answered, and then we had the one, the only Andrew join us on the stream, and even he contributed to us like so much insight and from his background, and even he answered one of the questions for us from our Q&A. Very, very informative. It was a wonderful night, and I look so much forward again to bringing Andrew up on the channel again. And we're just working. We're just trying to add value into your lives. That's the goal. We've put in a lot of years, a lot of hours, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and we just want to give you that insight. And trust me, like, you're also going to have to put in the blood, sweat, and tears. But if we can provide a little bit of guidance along the way, it'll help a lot, right? So that was last night. Amazing time, and happy to have you here this morning. This is the Coffee and Kata show, and I am your host, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. We're going to get into our news stories in a little bit, and then we're going to get into our coding challenge. But today I have at noon Eastern Time coming out the breakdown of the site reliability engineer role. A very, very nice, very fun, very lucrative role. Very challenging as well, right? But trust me, it's well worth it. You'll want to check it out. If you haven't done so, go to that video, already like it, and click the notification button so you can know as soon as it premieres at noon. And then you can tune in and, we can have a conversation. You can learn. It's just going to be a good time, all right? So trust me on that. And before we get into our news articles, if you haven't done so yet, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. And if you want to level up your technical skills, right, team up with me, Tech Coach Ralph. Check out the link, www.techcoachralph.dev, and that'll allow you to sign up to the Patreon. And there's so many things that we can do in there. I have positions open to get one-on-one coaching with me, becoming a tech barbarian. So check it out, and come out here and win, right? The goal is to win, is to be successful. All right. So we are going to get into our news stories. And let's put the timer up on the clock. All right. Got our 5 minutes up. And let's go over to our share screen. The first story we're going to talk about is American airline flight attendants are planning to strike, or they're eyeing it at least. And zoom in a bit. And it's like we keep hearing strike after strike after strike, right? First the UAW, then I didn't even know that the actors or actresses or writers were on strike because, like, who really watches that much TV nowadays, right? We have Netflix, we have YouTube, we have whatever, and a lot of people are creating their own content that we're not relying on these actors and stuff anymore, right? I was wondering why the NBC shows hadn't started up, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Um, I I'll just create my own content. I'll watch other people's content, and I'll move on from there. It's so much more informative. But let's read this real quick. American Airlines flight attendants are the latest group to maul a strike. Their union is seeking permission from the government to stop work in 30 days, a requirement for rail and airline workers who operate under separate labor laws from other businesses. The 23,000 union members at American haven't gotten a raise since 2019. They're looking for an immediate 35% wage hike plus back pay. The union says American has offered 11% for now, but any potential strike likely won't hit during the busy holidays travel season, as Congress can block it, notes CNN. So they want a 35% wage hike. Traditionally, in corporate America, you're looking at a 3 to 5% cost of living increase, unless you get promoted and stuff like that. Then it can go up because with more responsibility, more pay, you know. Um, but they want a 35%, and they've been offered an 11%. That's usually in the tech industry, the way you get these big bumps, like these 35% pay raises, is by going to another company. But it might be a little bit different for flight attendants and for unions and stuff. I have a I'll probably touch on this another time, but I have a vision, a viewpoint that I have on unions, and but we'll touch on that another time. So let's see real quick. The union said that in August, 99.5% of the voting members voted to authorize a strike. Also that month, American Airlines pilots won a new contract that will boost their pay by more than 40% over 4 years. So they're getting like a 10% raise per year. It might be staggered somehow, but yeah, that is where we're at. The American Airlines flight attendants are potentially going to strike if they do not come somewhere close, I guess, to 35% wage hike plus back pay. So we'll see how that all plays out. All right, so let's go to our next one. Black Friday spending set to rise. Shoppers are planning to up holiday season spending to pre-pandemic levels, but at a discount. The 2023 Deloitte Holiday Retail Survey shows that consumers have budgeted an average of $567 for Black Friday and Cyber Monday events, 13% more than in 2022. With inflation easing on one hand, however, the higher borrowing costs coupled with lower household savings on the other, they're swarming towards the heavily discounted items typically offered during these marquee shopping events. The National Federation of Retailers expects overall holiday sales growth to slow between 3% and 4% this year from 5% in 2022. Walmart, the world's biggest retailer, joined other chains in cautioning about consumer spending this season. And I think we touched on that the other day, right? And let's see, is there any interesting thing in here? Not really, but I do find interesting that even even like so they say inflation is slowing down, right? But if it got up to like I don't know, I don't even know what it got up to, but let's say it got up to like 9, 10%, whatever, right? And it slows down to 8% when it used to be like maybe 4% when it started. That doesn't really help that much. I mean, it helps in slowing it down, but it's still hurting, And depending on what you're buying, inflation can be a lot higher for some people than others, right? And you know, I don't know. For me, if I'm spending this holiday season, it's gonna be on equipment for the studio for the channel to make things better, right? And let's get into our last story, which I know is what everyone is talking about. Sam Altman returns to OpenAI. So we So the news broke on Friday that he was fired by the board, and then on Monday we touched on it that he was hired by Microsoft, and then today it's reported that he is returning to OpenAI as CEO, capping days of drama and negotiations that transfixed Silicon Valley and the global AI industry. After suddenly being fired Friday, a major sticking point during the weekend discussions with Altman was said to be the company's board, which OpenAI is now overhauling and will initially be led by former Salesforce co-CEO Brett Taylor. Altman will not join the board at present, but may do so later, anonymous sources tell Bloomberg. Altman Altman's ousting sent shockwaves across the industry, with Microsoft, an investor of OpenAI, announcing Sunday that it would subsequently hire him. OpenAI tweeted that it was working to figure out the details of Altman's return and its new board. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said Wednesday that LinkedIn's parent company was encouraged by the changes to the OpenAI board. More than 700 of OpenAI's employees had signed a letter threatening to resign if Altman wasn't reinstated. Here's how the OpenAI saga has reshaped the startup world and artificial intelligence ecosystem. So we're not going to get to that article, but it just shows that so many people are always arguing about the power of a corporation versus employees and stuff like that. What I'm seeing here, right? Because a company, they aren't much without their employees, but employees also aren't much without their companies on a holistic level, right? So looking at these 700 employees who signed the letter, right? They can go out and disperse across any other company. They maybe they get absorbed by Microsoft. Who knows, right? But the value that they bring to OpenAI, and that because of the amazing work that they do, and they're standing by their CEO, they pretty much could have dismantled the company, right? And it wasn't threatening of striking and everything like that. It's like, hey, we're going to take our like LeBron James said, right? In 2010, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach. They threatened to take their talents to other places, and I'm pretty sure none of them were hurting for money. And all it says 700 out of 770, it probably would have been closer to like once that 700 were gone and then the 70 were left, they're like, okay, I'm out of here too, and they'll probably get hired immediately somewhere else, right? So there's a synergy that goes between and I think we touched on that last night too, between the company's point of view and the employee's point of view, right? The employee's point of view and the employer's point of view and the employee's point of view, right? And you find that happy balance, and but no one threatened to strike or nothing like that. They just said we're going to take our talents elsewhere, and that's the power of being talented and being good at what you do. That you get to get things across, right? So just wanted to leave you with that, and I think that is amazing news, that seeing how this played out in real life before our very eyes. So for Sam Altman's return to OpenAI, I know many people are excited about that and are happy to hear that. All right, so we are going to get into our coding challenge, and the way that we're going to do it today, we are if we have time today, we're going to continue on the writing out the test cases and stuff. But one of the things that were really bothering me, right? And I'll pull up the Chaos Camp challenge, and I'll start the timer, right? Because we got to get out of here anyway. So let's go to 25 minutes. All right. So one thing that was bothering me, right? If we look at the requirements, right? Test that the API is up and running. And the way that I was testing it based on what we had, I'm not happy with that, right? So what I want to do, I just want to implement a simple health check endpoint, that if you go to the health check endpoint and you get returned an OK or a 200, then we know that the application is up, right? And then we can have a more realistic health check, and then we can continue with our testing. So are we the developers of this application? No, we're not. However, one of the ways to build credibility, to build experience, is to contribute to different repositories, open source repositories, whether you are doing QA for these open resource repositories, or you find a bug or you're trying to use it and you report it, and then you can get those resolved, you can get those fixed. So many things that you can do so that you can continue to add value, and you can talk, and these become talking points in interviews, right? So you can say, "Oh, I was working on this repository in GitHub and I found this issue and I reported it. Oh, I added this feature. Might be something really minor, but I added this feature, and it was merged into the main branch, and now it's up and running, right?" So that's what we're going to do. We're going to add the health check first. Then we're going to start it up our application in Docker to test out to make sure that our health check is working. So we're going to do actually is we are going to write our test first the way that we want it to work, and then we're going to update the application to add that health check, and that way we'll be actually practicing test driven development in the process. All right, so let's get to it. And let me open. So I'm gonna need to open Docker, and I'm gonna need to open my PyCharm. And we're not going to be doing this via Terraform today. We're going to be doing it through Docker on a local computer, especially with the fact that we need to update the code, and it's going to be a very simple update, right? So I can pull it up. What we're going to do. So Docker is up, PyCharm is up. Let's put it on a screen. All right. So what we're going to do, we are going to be using. So that's up and running. So let's swoop over here. So I'm just going to be adding in pretty much this code right here, right? To this code right here, you know. It's already using Fast API, and we just want to have, we can add a class for health and an endpoint for that. So we'll look at the code and see what we need to do, and we'll get it done, test it out, see how it works, right? But let's not waste any more time, and let's get to work. So we have our so all right. So we're going to go over here, and here we are. So we are going to be, what just happened there? Okay, there we go. So we are going to be updating this right here, and then we'll build our Docker image again, right? So there goes the app. Not, oh, this is the old one, right? So not this. This is the one that we want. We're going to be updating main.py. And we have class. And let's see, app.post. And it's using all of these. All right, so now we're just going to come in here, and we are going to, so I'll just be copying it over from, or typing it over from the other site, right? So we don't have to go back and forth. Let's do, let's see here. Okay, so base model is part of it. So let's do, actually, before we even do that, right? Let's create another branch. All right, so let's do, I'm going to commit this branch. That way we can merge into, let's do a git status. And we can do, well, better get ignoring here. Let's do this. ignore. Where is it coming from? Nope. So I want to get ignore in this folder. Actually, no. What I'll do is I'll just do this. I'll just totally leave out this API cache thing for now. So we'll do git commit test API test rock paper scissors. Adding test for RPS challenge. We'll do that. All right. So now we're committed, and we're gonna do git status. All right. So we can ignore that, and we're gonna do git checkout main. We're gonna do git pull. Make sure we have the latest, and now we're gonna do git. We're gonna do git checkout dash b for branch, as we learned in our git, our learning git morning exercises. And we're gonna call that branch TCR add health check. All right. Now we have a branch to add the health check. We're gonna go back to our okay, cool. So we're gonna go back to the main page. Notice we don't have our test cases in here, which I guess we probably should. But what we can do is, as I mentioned, let's add a test case for the API. Let's add a test case for that. Okay. So what we can do is new Python file, and let's do test health check. Right, that way we can have that page separated for have this test separated for the health check. Any test that we have around that. So when the application is up, when it's not up. So we're gonna do now. What am I gonna do? Import requests. Import PyTest. Right, and we're gonna do test health check endpoint. Very descriptive titles, and we're gonna say request. So let's set our base URL. And for now, we'll just set that to http://localhost.8080 based on the documentation. And we're going to say, let's say health check response equals, we're going to do request.get, and we're going to say, let's do health check endpoint equals base URL. And so we'll do an F string actually. F string, and we're gonna do base URL slash health. All right. And then we're gonna go to the base URL. And that's all that we need for this, right? And we should get a give a space here for proper formatting. One more. All right, so then we're gonna do PyTest. Okay, so check response status code equals health check response dot status code. And then here we're going to do health check response status code is equal to 200. And if it's not, we're going to say f string for expected status code, kind of like what we did last time, right? But we want to formalize it more for the health check, right? So we're going to say 200, and we're going to say actual results, actual status code. We're going to go here and health check response status code, all right? So by doing it this way, we have maybe. Cool. All right. Get some coffee. All right. So we have all of that. And now, if we run this, right, because nothing is up right now. So if we run this, we should get a failure, right? But what's the first step to doing this? What's the first step of doing this is let's actually start up the application, right? Where's my terminal? Because by starting this up, we will do let me see what's the container name for this. I'm always changing it. All right. So we have let's do this. So there's a command in Linux called grep where we're gonna use that to find this, right? So we're gonna say grep and say rock. There we go. So rock, paper, scissors API with, so the name of the container is this, right? So let's start this up. Although I don't know if this, because when was this? This was 7 days ago. Okay, well, yeah, I think it does have it because we checked the fix that day, right? So docker start, and we put the name of the container. You can also use the container ID. And now let's see what happens if we go to it in the browser. So when we go to just localhost 8080, we get detail not found, which is the expected result, right? So code. And if we run this, right? If we run this, let's see what we get. Why would that pass? Let me see something. So does this actually have it and we didn't even know? No, it's not found. So, oh, that's why. That's why. Because I have the base URL here. So you see, and this is the thing with writing the test first, because I know it should fail because we haven't done anything for it. But I just put I put this in here. So let's say we put here. because I wouldn't expect to get a 200, but let's see what happens, right? I would want to get like a 404 or something. That works. So I don't like that because this endpoint doesn't actually exist. Let's look it up in Talend. So if we go to here and we go to, this was from Tuesday. Oh, what I want. I go here. So I get a 404. Let's see what's going on here then. Let's see if we do. So let's get our test to fail first because part of TDD is you want a failing test, especially when we know it should be failing. Now let's check response. Oh, jeez. See what the problem is? It is too early in the morning, and that's why it's important to do these coding challenges early in the morning because you get your mind flowing and you get the juices running, and it's like, okay, now I see what's going on. All right. So we have our assertion. Let me see if I do my test. We should just be good with assert. Or let me see. How do I call in an assert from PyTest? I don't remember. It is. We looked at this the other day. It's we define the function. Oh, okay. We have to. All right. We have to call it through PyTest. But okay, that's fine. So we're good. We can do it in the command line. So let's say PyTest, and we do test health check. Still passing. Oh, because it's 404. So if we change this back to 200, we should have a failure at this point. There we go. We have our failing test. So now what we're going to do, we are going to go over to the main file and we'll run it here too, just so you can see it in another view. Right, cool, perfect. This is exactly what we wanted, right? We have our failing test, right? Expected 200, actual 404. What we're going to do now is we are going to go into main and we're going to say here class, and we're going to call that, looking at our code over here, health check base model. And we're going to say response model to validate and return when performing a health check added by your favorite tech coach, Ralph. All right. And we're going to say here status string equals okay. Oops. All right. And then we're going to go into here, we say app.get health and tags equals right, and summary equals perform a health check. And the purpose of the health check, right, is for monitoring, where you can have it polling the server every so often, on a dashboard, and you can see like if the application goes down, so you can respond, right? Because if you don't, then if you don't have that, then your application will be down and things are going to be bad. Response description. This fast API I think is pretty cool, to be honest. Return HTTP status code 200. Okay. And honestly, like in this code that we're adding, we'll also want to have tests around that as well. We could have done it like the full way of like as we add to this, we also add to our test cases. But because time is of the essence, maybe we'll do a more in-depth test-driven development methodology of adding both, like going step by step where we test for the endpoint, then we test for the response description, and so forth. But for the time being, we are okay. And lastly, response model equals health check. So this is on its own layer. Mm, yes. Okay, so I needed status up here. All right. And now we are going to, and even if we have to go a few more minutes over, I think this is really important to get this done. So let's do get, and because I want to submit the PR as well. So we'll spend a little bit extra time if necessary, because I know only have 48 seconds to go. But I think it's super important that we get this done and we get it submitted because it's going to make our testing even better. All right. So we do a lambda and we're saying, just going to copy all this text into it because I don't want to type this whole thing. This is just the description of the function. So we're here and we go like that. And we're going to say return health check status equals okay. Right? And we're going to add right here brought to you by your favorite tech coach. All right. And here we are. We're going to say here. Cool. So now let's go ahead and see anything else we need. I think we're good. Let's go ahead and build our Docker image. So like I'm going to build a Docker image, but technically you'd want to run the unit test where you start up the application locally. But I'd have to go ahead and install the requirements and all that stuff. But I'm just going to install. I'm going to run the Docker build command just so that we can do it this way. But in the future when we have more time, we'll do it like the full comprehensive approach of doing the test driven development methodology. So let's go and open up the README real quick just so I can get the Docker command. And we're going to say go to terminal. We're going to do Docker build -t rock paper scissors API dot. Let's get that built. And in the meantime, let's stop. And I'm going to also remove that container so that we can get it started with the latest version. And now that the container is built here, right, the image is written, we are going to do Docker run -p, give it a name, or do it detach and then give it a name of TCR. Let's paste that. And then we're going to say run it on port 8080. Might have an issue in there, but we'll see. Then rock, paper, scissors, API. See what happens. I always mess that one up. Let's do --name. Should be something like that, but just go with that. Make it easy. So now that is up and running. So let's see what happens if we run our test again. And let's see here. One more time. Maybe it should have been started. So, oops. Let's see what we got going on here. So let's look at it in the browser real quick to see what's happening. So now let's look at the Docker logs. All part of development. Docker log. And I'll copy the name of the container. So it's up and running on 8080. So we do see that. Let me go here. We're not getting any response. Why is that? Let's take a look at the documentation again. I wonder if we have to move it up. But we can probably pick this up on Friday. It's getting time to go, but I'm just curious. Oops, leave that here. Let's take this all the way to the top. drop that right there. That should work according to the documentation, but if not, we will just pick it up next time. Return health check. That is okay. Get do health check. Get app or app.get health tags health check summary status code status HTTP 200 okay response model health check. Everything looks good. Well, try it one more time. If that doesn't work, we will finish it up on Friday. So let's do one more time the Docker build. And while that's happening, we're going to Docker stop. We are going to remove. And we have our new image written, and we're going to do Docker run. Like that. And if that doesn't work, then we will just pick it up. All right, so let's try to run our test one more time. Well, not working as we expected, but we're going to figure it out. No big deal. Building right here for some reason. And when we do it in the browser, we're probably getting the same thing. So we will fix that later. And that's why we don't push straight to master. We have it on our branch and we're going to investigate and then we'll push it up. We didn't get to the PR today, but that is the challenges of software engineering. But we will table that and we'll come back to it on Friday. We'll figure it out and we will submit our PR on Friday, hopefully, and hopefully get it merged if Don approves and go from there. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in this morning as we get our minds ramped up to take on the day. We are one day before Thanksgiving. If we do not speak again before that, I want to wish everyone a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for tuning in to the morning show, Koffee and Kata, with yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know every time that we go live, every time we drop a new video. Like the video, share the video, all that good stuff. And I'm probably going to be, I'm still figuring out exactly what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I don't think we're going to be doing it at night, but maybe throughout the day we can hang out a little bit, maybe do some CTFs, some catch the flag challenges like we did last week. Who knows? But we're going to have an enjoyable, relaxing day. If you're around, need to take a break, tune in and hang out with me, right? But until then, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, this is Tech Coach Ralph signing off. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.